So we're going to start our journey into Eukarya with the kingdom that is not a kingdom, the quote-unquote protists. So protists are not a kingdom. This is an informal name, and it's mostly unicellular eukaryotes. There are some that are colonial, and there are some that are arguably multicellular, but for the most part, they're going to be unicellular. Protists don't really have any defining characteristics that contain them as a group. They are not a clade. This is a polyphyletic grouping. However, a protist is typically a eukaryotic cell, meaning it's got a nuclear envelope, membrane-bound organelles, but it's not a plant, an animal, or a fungus. So we don't actually consider this a kingdom anymore. There's a massive diversity of different protists. So most are unicellular, however, some can be colonial, like Volvox down here is a colony with colonies inside of it. This is algae, so this large kelp algae is actually truly multicellular. And then even single-celled species can be very complex, so paramecium have multiple nuclei, have ability to maintain osmotic pressure, have feeding grooves, they're able to eat. So even a single-celled protist is a eukaryotic cell, has membrane-bound organelles, and a lot of complexity compared to a prokaryotic cell. They have a huge diversity in nutrition acquisition as well. There are some, like the Volvox and this algae, that are photoautotrophs that can do photosynthesis, use chloroplasts. There are many, like this paramecium over here, that are heterotrophs, where they have to ingest food just like you do. So they actually have a feeding groove that they take food into. And then there are some that we call mixotroph. Mixotroph is kind of a made-up word that we use to say that something is both able to do photosynthesis and ingest food heterotrophically. So mixotrophs can kind of switch back and forth, or they may do one at one point in their life and then another later on. There are 4 supergroups of eukaryotes. So you need to know these supergroups. And there are protists in every single supergroup, so we will start with the protists. The first supergroup here is called excavata, so these are the excavates. The second supergroup is really large, and it's called SAR, which is a not very creative name for the 3 subgroups inside of SAR. The next group is Archaea plastida. Archaea meaning ancient or old, plastid like chloroplast. So this group of Archaea plastida goes all the way back to here. Notice that inside of here we have the plant kingdom, right? So this is a separate kingdom on its own. And then our 4th supergroup is called Uniconta. And inside of this we have 2 separate kingdoms. We have the fungal kingdom here, fungi, and the animal kingdom down here. So all of eukaryotic life is divided into these 4 supergroups. These 4 supergroups come off in this manner here, where they all kind of come off at the same point, and that's called a polytomy. The reason that they all 4 branch off at the same point on this phylogenetic tree is because we don't actually know which ones branched off first. We don't have the genetic data to support, maybe the excavates came off first or SAR. There's some hypotheses, but we don't really know. And the 3 kingdoms that you're mostly familiar with are the plants, the fungi, and the animals. And those are within these 4 larger supergroups. But you can see highlighted in yellow that there are protists in all of these different supergroups. So that's why these protists are not a kingdom. They are a polyphyletic grouping, meaning that they contain some of these ancestors, but not all. And they don't include the most recent common ancestor.